Hey, we'll talk. I mean, we don't.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, everybody, welcome to Golden Guys. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being here. We are here having a good time. We were talking a lot before the chat, before the started. I'm actually going to do an early shout out to everybody because we had 9 people early, and I want to shout out these guys really much. Of course, Caleb, Comic Smart Murphy, one of my favorites right there. Mr. Gretzky 9966, very happy to have you here. JP's Budget Collecting, thank you for being a friend. Absolutely great there. Need a car shirt as well as Gretzky, not having which one yet. Well, there's always the Paste Pot Pete. There's always that one. That's a rare one. So very cool. Good to have some people in chat. Chris Barris, how are you, Mr. True Believers? Good seeing everybody. So tonight, Golden Guys, there's actually a fun thing going on at the same time. What's with my hair? Sorry, first day. So there's an auction going. What's going on with my hair? Anyway, there's a yeah, it's one of those days. It's freaking pouring rain out here. So what's going on is there's a Comic Connect auction that's going on as we speak. It's the closing, but it's some really, I would call them we saw a Amazing Fantasy yesterday. I know it's not golden, but Amazing Fantasy 15 in a 9.0.
That was a 9.2. I actually did a post on my Instagram. 9.2.
Oh, it went for just under 600K.
598K.
That's the one you bought, right?
Which is the new record for that grade, right?
I think so. There was like a 9.4 and 9.6 sold for like 7 and over $1 million, I think, or right around 900 something thousand last year. So yeah, so, this one had something. I don't know if you guys are familiar. They had that QES sticker. If if you see like a CVA sticker, it means it presents better than grade. This one had a QES sticker.
What is QES?
Well, as far as I could determine, it's a company that it does a little bit more than just say that it's better looking than its grade. It's got to have basically perfect staple placement, a perfect right edge, a deep color strike, and a clear register, which in parentheses says gray. I don't know what that means. Is that like the background color?
That's the background. That's
Can't have any like smudges or.
It's not just the cover; it's the inside too.
Okay.
Here's a good example. I'll just grab I have an Apache Kid here because it's Golden Guys. I'm showing this beautiful cover right here. Again, I'm just trying to show people that they're more because we're going to have a good topic tonight for everybody here. But the in between the lines. You see how this is always going to be clearer than the outside? The grayness has to be even throughout. Not white pages, but it has to be the same there as it does on the back. I've seen that brought up before CGC, before anything else. People were talking about that. That's actually like a Christie's auction thing or a Sotheby's auction back in the day when the really mega books were going on there for like, God forbid, $25,000 for an AF-15 and 9.0.
I thought registration meant
it's over. Like it says.
All like just perfectly lined up where they should, but
yeah, and
on the cover,
I guess centering would matter, which kind of makes more sense on books after AF-15 because that big problem of mass bad centering was a 70s thing with Marvel. I don't know if Action or any DC books were going through that.
Well, the problem with the DC books, they have the 20 centers with the 2 circles. They got the DC circle and the 20-cent circle. It's so hard to find those both intact. So.
Unless it's a 100-pager, right? Which it would be a 50 center. I think they did. Forget how they did those. Those are good stuff.
Timely has lots of issues on a lot of the covers where one color will be slightly off, and it's pretty noticeable on Schomburg covers because he has so much detail, and I've gotten rid of, when I try to choose which books need to hit the road, usually I will find that ones with the bad registration or whatever it's called, and then it's easy to start hating on one defect, and then that next thing you know, that comic gone.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, when it comes to like the CVA sticker, and we're starting to see that more often, and then the QES sticker now, I think it doesn't matter to me, those stickers. I feel like you can judge an appearance of a book by looking at the book. I don't need a sticker on a slab. to tell me if a book looks the way I think it should look, or if it's a good appearance for the book. But if people are going to get an extra 5% or 10% on their price by having that sticker, you're going to see a lot of them on these higher priced books, because if you get an extra 5% on a $500,000 book, you're talking 25 grand. So, I mean, you're seeing CVA stickers on these high-end items already. And, I don't need a sticker from some company to tell me that a book presents better than the grade. It's sort of like a cop-out scam type thing to me that I don't really care. And, the fewer stickers on a slab, the better. I don't even like when the companies put the stickers on the back. Like, a lot of dealers do that, and Comic Link or Comic Connect does that too. But I don't know down with that.
I bet it's something that a lot of people like for the newer comics. Like, I bet Golden Age people don't care as much because, there's so many AF-15s and, Hulk 181s or whatever, that if you got that little sticker, it might actually make yours feel different,
Yeah, I guess.
This was actually at CVA to see if they were going to give it a sticker, and I just give it back.
Did you send it to CVA?
The guy who pressed it did.
Oh, okay.
The guy who the guy loved it. He said he actually was kind of really shocked about this grade. And I said, "What are you talking about? Look down here." And he goes, "Oh, they must have did that." I said, "No, I saw it when I gave it to you." But the staples are it's if you see this cover here, just it's he thought he was going to get a 7.5 out of it. That's why I ended up getting it, because when he got a 5.5, he didn't upgrade to his 6.0, so I got to get his 5.5 at a good price. So
yeah, I mean, that's a nice copy. I feel like all this stuff they're doing, though, it's sort of they're encouraging newer collectors, people new to the industry or new to the hobby, basically, that takes all the work out of it. Like, we'll give you the slab, we'll tell you what's the grade, we'll tell you what's the page colors, we'll tell you if it presents better than the grade. Like, you don't have to do anything except spend money. And, I'll spend money, but I can judge a book for myself. Now, I like slabs because it takes the risk out of it for online sales. But, I don't need stickers to tell me if a book looks better than the grade, or if it's got preferred staple placement. You can tell by looking at a book if it's got preferred staple placement. You know what I mean? That's not a hard thing to tell.
exactly.
How do you get those books? Like, how do you get the stickers? What's the process like?
Yeah, I looked into it for CVA. You just send it to them, and they will review it, and they'll charge you more if they agree with you, and they'll put a sticker on it and send it back.
Yeah, and if you pay them enough, I'm pretty sure you get it.
God, screw that.
Yeah,
I just sent CGC some books today, and I get so nervous with the real expensive stuff. I would never want to just and then send it here to get this, send it here to get that.
I'll be back 1 second.
And then one thing wrong with the mail, and then whatever, you have to deal with all that insurance and all that crap.
Yeah, and I like slabs. I don't have a problem. I get all my books slabbed. I don't have a problem having a third party professionally grade it. Everybody has different grading standards, and everybody's going to disagree on grades here and there. But if you're buying online, which is like 95% of all comic sales today, it takes the guesswork out. You can see a CGC says it's a 5.0 with off-white pages. That it's a solid mid-grade with no resto, and it's complete. And so that really is helpful.
I only buy big books. I'll only buy slabbed, unless if it's a dealer I know and it's already not gonna be a blue label, then I feel like, if he's honest and you can look at it and I don't know, it seems like it's not really worth, once it's already designated or restored or something or qualified or something, then there's not as much point to send it in.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's dealers I definitely trust, but there's another part of this industry that I've talked about before with some of these big time dealers that I don't like buying raws off them if I can't see it in hand, because they are notorious for overgrading. And people who go to cons or deal with some of these dealers, who I'm talking about. I don't need to name them, but there's a couple that it's like a running joke. He overgrades. That's BS, man. They know they're overgrading. It's sort of dishonest to some degree, but it's accepted. And so I don't even feel comfortable buying raws off of dealers a lot of times, because they'll tell me it's a VG and I get it and it's like a 2.5, And then, you know, I bought one that was a fine minus off a guy I trust, and I got it graded, and I already knew it didn't look like it was anywhere near that. I thought it would be a 3.5. It wasn't a fine minus. I sent it in, it came back 3.5. So,
Hey.
you know, what are you going to do? I factor that into when I deal with that guy now. I know if he says something's a fine, I'm looking to pay like a VG plus price.
Was that Metropolis?
No, it was a dealer it's not like a major dealer.
I was talking to a guy at CGC who's had issues on the CGC site with a couple of Metropolis overgrades a lot of the golds, especially. They'll say 6.5, 7. They'll do fine. They advertise fine, and you're looking at a 4 when you get it.
Yeah, they have those weird half grades too, like 6.75. You seen that?
I don't know.
What is that, dude?
Really?
Like, is it a 7 or is it a 6.5? Like 6.75? You're that exact that it's like in between the two? Like, come on.
So here's some books. I just want to shout out a few people in the chat because I hit almost at the 15-minute mark, and I always like to do that. TJ, great to have you here. Always good. Jeffrey Comic-Con, good seeing you. We're talking wrestling already. Tech 31 kid, guess what? Is a Tech 31 that's closing in 20 minutes. It's already up to $27,000, and it is a 1.5. So I hope you got one, because that's a record for that guy, for sure. Because I remember we were just talking probably offline. I don't know, about 8-9 years ago. I swear to you, you could get a 5 in under $5,000 easily. It's just a hot, crazy book. Not only on a few. Overstreet Guide, by the way, 27.5, by the way. And Overstreet has been grading that for a while.
Well, that's one of the few books Overstreet actually keeps up with to some degree. Go look at a Chamber of Chills 19 in like a 6.0. It's like $75.
Yeah.
The $8,000 book.
Also, for all you tech fans, just to give you an idea of what else is out there for your Batman collection on the Comic Connect, also known as the Metropolis auction site, you've got here Detective Comics number 38, which is kind of a first appearance of Robin, and that's a 3.0, is currently $21,222. And I'm about to say this right now, and I don't say this much for a book that's $21,000, but that's not bad.
How much time's left?
20 minutes.
Yeah, that'll go for a lot more.
Well, yeah, I watched the AF-15 9.2 last night as it was ending, and you know, there's no sniping on Comic Connect. They just add another 3 minutes if there's another bid. So I was watching that, and it was at maybe 375,000 or 405,000 or something. And it just every 3 minutes there kept being an increase in the bid, and it lasted for a while, and it almost went up like another $200,000 or something.
Mastodon, good to have you here. Brandon Stilinski, congratulations, and good to have you here. I already said TJ, but I will say TJ again. And JP, love the initials. DS, thanks a lot for sending there. Evan, good to see you. Evan, reach out to me. I definitely want to get you on here about some things, because yes, Metropolis likes to miss trims. They like to miss staples being replaced.
Staples.
They had a problem with me. They're like, I bought a book. It's all real. I said, got it. And then I have no problem bringing it back to them at the con when I looked at it, and I'm like, this is the book I just bought from you guys. Here's the receipt. Here's everything here. Here's the book. Here's your print. Here's your proof. It's the same, same defect on the front. And they say, yeah, it's the same book. I'm like, look at the staples. I'm like, oh yeah, they're really silver. I'm like, yeah. When the book's got rust on pages and the staples are silver and look really good, that's not that's a replaced staple. So I wanted that.
Yeah,
and they did give me credit for that. I will be honest, they gave me like $190 credit, which was more than fair, because I was only asking. They gave me almost 25% of the book back, which I didn't think was going to downgrade a Golden Age 25% for one staple. But
well, I bought a book recently off a dealer that I trust, that I've dealt with before, that's on the up and up all the time. 100% trust this dealer. And I've got a book, and when I got it, I contacted him. I said, hey, did you know the staples on this book have been replaced? He's like, oh, are you serious? Are you sure? How do you know? And I took some pictures and sent it to him. And I mean, it was clear, it was obvious that both staples have been replaced. And he immediately offered to refund me And I was like, no, I still want the book. It was a good price anyway. And he refunded me some money. But I think when these guys are going through so many books, you got to process these books, and you miss stuff like trimming or replace staples. They're sort of easy things to miss. Like Color Touch, you can just flip it open. You can see it right away. Trimming is not easy. You don't have time to look at every book and scrutinize it. Some of them get through, I think, like a staple replaced or trimming. You know, the overgrading bothers me more than if a dealer misses something, because everybody makes mistakes.
Yep, that's exactly my point. Overgrading, because you can't argue a grade, in my opinion. If you're buying a 6.5 and you bring it back to them, say it's a 4.0, they can say, well, what did you do to it? You know, that's the one thing. Proof right there was the staple. I didn't replace the staple.
Plus, they can always say, I think it's a 6.5. I still think it's a 6.5. You know what I mean?
True, grading is subjective. Metarog, good to see him here. Very good. Got to get you on here too. You got a nice little gold collection going on. Thank you very much.
Sometimes the guys who bring in the dealer's books are well known to the dealer, and they trust them, and then they don't go through it. And then I bought a bunch of books that are incomplete when you look at the page, and then I believe them when they act surprised about it, and gotten some.
Yeah, Teddy got taken for a few books. We were talking
keeping the book and just doing like a deal for something else maybe they have and get a way better price on it. Sometimes that works out.
Yeah, as long as they make it right. But I these dealers are not doing page counts on every single book. Yeah, they're not looking closely at the staples on every single book. It's just, it takes time. It takes, just for me, when I get books, I have to devote some time and sit down and go through a book that I bought and do a page count and look at everything carefully. And the amount of time it takes me to look at one, these guys are looking at thousands or tens of thousands of books. You can't catch everything.
Right. And Teddy, what happened to Teddy? I'll just do a quick story with Ted. Teddy's at Superworld Comics. I think that's the name of it now.
Yeah.
Good guy, overgrades, but good guy. And he's honestly overgrading, and he's always negotiable. But he's a great person. I'm really a big fan of him, and his sale. And when he does sales, he does really good sales. But what happened to him was he bought a restored 1.0 Suspense. What's the one with the spider? 8?
Yeah, Suspense 8.
Suspense 8 LB Gold cover. Detached cover, page missing, incomplete. He bought it. It was cracked open and got to him, is what he told me, because I know the person who has the book now. And I said, hey, not for nothing, you sold this for X number of dollars, but you paid this. It was paid for this on eBay. He goes, well, I paid more than that for that, and I was giving you guys a deal. And he told me the whole story. It was a part of a collection of books. And he goes, when a guy comes over to you with 4 or 5 pre-code horrors, and he's like, I want to trade these into you right there, and he's looking at other books. He's looking at other books. I'm not saying this is how the guy distracted me, because I was kind of distracted about what he was interested in more than what I was getting. And that's probably where he goes, that's where I made my first big mistake, was not looking at that book more carefully. But one other thing for you Batman fans, and that's why I put this out here, this lovely gift I got from, sorry, Batman is not worthy. Batman, I got this lovely cover of Batman 1. I'm hanging up in my son's room once I'm done up there, as a gift from Epicurean Eye Relief, as a lovely AOK. Thank him very much for that. Okay, what's extended bidding right now, by the way? It has been extended bidding for a while, and you're right, because with 1 second left, this Daredevil 1 in a 9.0 was 7,000, is up to 8,100. But anyway, back to Golden Age here. There's 2 Tech 27 pages in here. Just single pages, but they're important pages. Pages 1 and 2. Current bid on page 2, which is a no-grade page, and page 2 only. First appearance of Batman by Bob Kane. It's the first appearance of Batman ever in Tech 27. It's the first time he's actually shown as Batman, because you only see a shadow of him on the title splash page, which is really a splash panel on Tech 1. That's going for about $10,000 for a page. About 11. It'll probably go for a lot higher. And $7,800 for page 1, which just has the title bar Bat-Man. So it's pretty interesting what's going on in the Golden Age world. It's heating up. And then you've got page number 3 is up to 7,400. And a great Golden Age book out there for you guys, Captain Marvel Avengers #1 in a 1/5. Fawcett. Now, I know that's a harder book to come by because it's the rare, and the reason why it's rare is it's a Captain Marvel done by not CC Beck but Jack Kirby. So that's pretty cool, and it's going for 7,000 right now, and that's extended, by the way. 1.5. Again, I'm going to say that's not bad. Again, I don't know what Overstreet considers that book because it's one of those books that are so. I consider that the scarcest of all the Captain Marvels. That's got to be, I think, other than a Wiz 2, I would say that's probably be the Grail. Yeah, if you're a Kirby fan, if you're not a Kirby fan, you prefer CC Beck, then go get all the Wizzes you want. But another one here is a classic book here that I'm not 100% sure the year it came out. I'm going to try to zoom in on it because I'm not wearing my glasses here. It's Crack Comics, which is a classic, great run if you're interested in that stuff. It's the #1 in a 9/2, which I think has got to be close to the highest grade. It's known as the Denver copy, so you know what that means. It's currently about $8,000. So we got a lot of Golden Ages going for sale. A lot of Golden Ages setting records all over.
You got any Crack Comics?
I've got 2 of the same issue. Did we lose JD or is it just me?
I don't hear him.
Okay. I don't either. But yeah, Crack Comics. I've got 2 of them. I don't have them handy, but I've got Crack Comics 51, 2 copies of that issue. That's the one with the werewolf stalking Captain Triumph along the wall with the shadows. I can probably pull it out if y'all want to see it, but that's the only Crack Comics I have, and that's really the only one I want. And I got 2 copies, and it's almost impossible to find it at all. And I lucked out on eBay with both of them.
It's not a like earlier they weren't horror comics, right?
No.
It was like some weird superhero.
No, that's out of the ordinary for a Crack Comics cover. It usually does not have monsters on it. Yeah, these 2 I got. All right, so this is Crack 51, one of my absolute favorite Golden Age covers. If you watch my channel, you've seen I love this book. But I found this one, and it was the seller listed it as like a pour, and it was a late night starting bid at $50, and I was the only one that bid on it. It looked way better than me, and I think it's like a 2.5. Maybe a 3, and yeah, it's nice, $50 on eBay, late night. And then I found another one when it popped up, and this is like in the fine range, and with a clean and press, it might even hit 6.5 or 7. Even it's a really sharp copy. This one, the seller listed with a bunch of other Crap Comics, and he's one of those sellers that has like looks like he buys storage units or just random stuff. He's not a comic dealer, so he just had a stack of Crack Comics, and he threw them all up around the same prices. But this was clearly the gem of that lot that he had, so I just jumped on it quick for under $200.
What year did that come out?
I think it's 47. Not 100% sure. Yeah, 1947.
So how come you don't have that slabbed yet?
Well, I'm going to, but it costs money, and it's got a really cool splash page too.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah, that is really cool.
Can you guys hear me now by any chance?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you now. Yeah, I'll get this slabbed. It just costs money to get things slabbed, and I usually send in like 15 to 20 at a time. Obviously, just sending in. So, when I'll put enough together and send in, 15 or 20 books at a time, and I do that every couple months.
Well, one of the things I just wanted to shout, flagging auctions I never heard of. I love it. One of the things I was thinking about talking about, what we already kind of briefed on, is what do you do when you get a book that's a Golden Age, that is raw? What are your, I'll give a perfect example. We can grab any one that we get. First thing you do when you get it, when you open it up, what's your process? Let's show everybody what your process is. Pray.
Yeah,
Pray.
that is the first thing.
Yeah.
Please be complete. Please
Yeah. Please be
don't
complete.
have any nasty surprises.
Um,
Don't fall apart when I open it.
Yep. That's the hardest one.
Or,
'Cause
yeah.
sometimes we're buying books that are 1.0s, ones, and they're, I've got white gloves and everything else to touch most of the high end or the higher end ones. I say, which one I'm getting into the dollar value a little bit. But what is some of the quirky, like I have magnifying glass. I have a big dentist light here. I don't know if you can see.
I just got a light like that.
Yeah, I have a whole dentist light antique I found, problem is I'm having a hard time finding these light bulbs. So I have to go to this piece in Iowa. You go, yep, that's what I do with a magnifying glass over here. It's funny how all these golden ages love this stuff. And I have a box I carry with me at cons that includes the black light, the flashlight, the blacklight flashlight tube, which is literally a paper towel tube that's they use to do the black light to look through. And the reason being for that is it helps me spot some resto. It's easy to spot a Sharpie. What you would do to spot a Sharpie, let's say this was all, let's say on this beautiful Russ Heath cover here, this was all right here. His junk was Sharpied over. You would see it here.
Yeah.
So that's where that's easy to tell. But when you're looking at some professional stuff that isn't Sharpied, that isn't ink, it's stuff there. Sometimes a black light helps out a lot. I've talked about people, but that's what I asked some graders at CGC how they resto look, and I'm doing a on the spot check. Carry a magnifying glass, carry a brush. Let you, because sometimes there's stuff on there. It's a small little it's about this long, but it's a little bit fine brush right here. I'll show that to some people. Check for nudie pictures. I agree with that one. What is something you count the pages. You look for resto. I tend to read them. If I didn't spend more than $100, I'll end up reading it just so I can see if I'm. You never know, because that's exactly how I started to like certain Atlas writers was literally reading it. So how I get into realizing that most of the horror was crap writing was because of it. I read one. I'm like, this is terrible.
Well, you know what I love doing though with any like beat up book, it could be from Bronze Age, whatever, but is putting it in a brand new fullback and brand new
My life. My life. I love doing that. I just did that with some book here I had on the hunt the other night. This one, I didn't really get into this too much, but this is a Joe Kubert copy and it's not a golden age. Sorry guys, but this is just something where I'm a big fan of all the monsters. And by the way, a bar opened up around the corner that the whole theme is Universal Monsters. Is pretty cool. Bad news for our wife. But we got here all the characters. You can see them right there. It's just a good one. Well, I do like I Am Vampire, and one of my Stranger Things shows that we're going to work on. TJ and I, we're going to do vampires and monsters and goblins, but that might be around Halloween.
Yeah, I think you guys do a lot more than I do. When I get a book, I don't have. Basically, what I do is I read every book, no matter how expensive it is. But I basically just use my eyes and a flashlight. And color touch is easy to observe. It either soaks through, and you can see it on the inside of the cover, like you're saying, or one of your best friends as a technique for looking at paper to see defects is oblique lighting. If you have a darkened room, really low light, and you shine the light just across the top, it catches all the defects, and you can see color touch that way that hasn't soaked through. I'll hold the open edge, like not the spine, but the right edge of the book, and I'll sort of fold it up, and you can see the edge, and you can tell if it's been trimmed. And it's, if it's closed and you're looking at it, you have the two covers, and inside the pages should come up. It shouldn't be even straight across.
Right.
But with Golden Age books, it's all over the place. Sometimes it's risen at one end and not on the bottom. Sometimes it is pretty flat. But if you splay it, like you get it and you just sort of splay the edge and widen out the edge of the pages, you can see pretty well. The color is evenly dark with the rest of edges of the paper. And, you know, I look at the staples closely. I don't use a magnifying glass. I don't even use gloves. I wash my hands, I dry them off, and I'll look at a book. And, you know, I flashlight and my eyes is what I use. And I've never been burned of all the books I've ever sent in to get graded, which is all of my books. I've never gotten a purple label yet. And there have been a couple times I've spotted resto and I've had to return a book, or I bought it at a con from somebody I can't remember, whatever. I'll just sell it or trade it to somebody else. Honestly, let them know it's got resto. But I just use my eyes and a flashlight. And really, I think there's no substitute for experience. And I don't have the most experience, but I have enough that I feel comfortable that I can spot resto just with my eyes on any book. Trimming's the toughest. I'm so paranoid about trimming, though. I'm ultra paranoid about that.
Always have another book of the same company, the same size, the same year, right by it, and just put them on top of each other.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. But if you're looking at Golden Age, you know, you don't necessarily have that. But,
yeah, I love these things. Do you have one of these?
Yeah, I have one. I have the monocle. I have one of those, and I have the actual big Sherlock Holmes. You know,
it's fun to think about, you know, like the paper is really interesting if you can really magnify up. You know, you could see all the fibers and everything. It's kind of fun to inspect it that closely.
Yeah, I don't own a magnifying glass, which is kind of weird for somebody who collects Golden Age books.
You should get one of these lights. It's so awesome.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like
$10 at an antique shop
with a good little flashlight and different angles. If I just use different angles and my eye and look at the book in different angles with different lighting, I feel like I can catch everything. But yeah, I can never see anything that close. But I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking for resto, and I feel pretty comfortable. Except for trimming, I feel like I can spot it. On the one hand, I think I'm good at spotting if something's trimmed or not. But then on the other hand, I think everything's trimmed, and I'm super paranoid about it. So
yeah, one of the big problems one problem I ran into with some of my Golden Age, that stuff that wasn't disclosed to me, and it's kind of hard to actually find the best of it. And what you're talking about with the light in a dark room, take a book to the bathroom and you can actually, not only can you do that, but you can open up the book and look at the white pages inside, or the off-white pages, whatever it is, cream page, doesn't matter. And using that technique of putting a flat down and with a light, with the door slightly ajar, just enough with a little bit of light coming in, you go right over it and you can actually tell water damage, which you a lot of times can't tell just from the eye, because your pages are off-white to begin with, or cream, or, you know, there's even colors in the Golden Age of bleeding books. I'm sure there are probably only about maybe a few times I've seen blue pages and pink pages. I'm sure you guys have, especially, I know Knights of Old has seen pink pages, because I've seen that in Marvel Mystery.
Yeah, I mean,
where the pink,
I've never owned one with pink pages, but Fox Features Syndicate is infamous for using that lower grade paper where you'll get a designation of pink pages, and that's their version of white, because they just use cheap paper and it's not actually white. So, but I've never owned one of those. But if anyone in the chat isn't familiar with it, if you see a book on a CGC slab or something that says pink, that's white. It's just cheap
white
paper by basically Fox used cheap paper, and it's never white, but pink equals white.
Pink?
A lot of times, he just talked up about Phantom Lady is pink. Yeah, actually, just a shout out to one of major dealer, Rick's Neat Stuff. I don't know if you guys caught that Instagram post where he showed the 9.4 of Phantom Lady 17.
Yeah, I mean,
great ever. What was it going for? 25 grand?
24, like 24.9 or something.
I think that's about too high.
You know, look, it's hard for me to look at that book and think that that's reasonable, but Matt Baker fans, they swear that he's the god of gay, and that book is like one of the top, and it's a really nice grade. And, you know, Rick, his prices are ballpark, whether you think they're a little high or not.
Well, that's
they're
his
ballpark.
Price, he says he didn't create that price. He's kind of brokering a deal. But he's on that.
It's probably a little high, and he probably left himself a little room to negotiate, maybe. But I mean, that book, I just don't get it. I'm not a GGA collector, and the Matt Baker GGA stuff going for 4.0, selling for $8 grand. I don't get it, man.
I have about 8 elephant covers of Baker that that I know are Baker just by the style of it. That I never spent more than $200, $300 on any one.
What
But
grade was that one you're talking about? What was the grade of that Phantom Lady 17?
9.4.
I think that's worth it.
That's,
I mean,
it's the highest grade. So here's one thing.
Yeah.
It's the single highest graded.
and that's the good girl art, like
That's the quintessential.
cheerleader, whatever, you know.
Well, and that's my favorite. If I had to have a Phantom Lady, I'd have that one because it's got the Phantom Lady in the pose, the major pose, but she's holding the two dudes in her hands, like, so she's like a giant version of herself holding the dudes in her hands, and they're small, like she's like toying with them.
I
It's a
happen
cool
to
cover.
like the one better when she's leaning back because her headlights are just right in point, and I'm a big fan of Baker's GGA, and Baker's got a few other GGAs. There's a great book out there called the Showgirl. Is it Showgirl or something? Drawings of Matt Baker, where some of them, the girl with the red hat cover is on one corner, and then you got the Phantom Lady on the other, and you've got a few jungles, and you got a Teen Temptations in there. Diary of Secrets, I think that one is. But very good right there. Here, I wanted to shout out some more in the chat here. One book that came back restored from the Silver Age. For the life of me, I can't see it, but I never saw grading notes. Wow, talk about a lead-in. Okay. If you buy a slabbed book, especially in the golden age, and if you're one of those that want to crack and re-slab, which I know a few of us have done. I know guys in the chat we talked about it a few times, a few people. What would you do to pay the $5? How much of what dollar price book?
A lot of the ones I bought were $15. Maybe you get a better price.
Yeah, it's 15 for some of them. Yeah.
I mean, I've done it probably right around 10 times total. I've paid $5 every time. But look, when I buy a book for my PC in a slab, I never consider cracking and pressing ever. I never do it. I buy the slab. It is the grade. It is what it is. I'm not cracking it out and having somebody or myself mess with it and then sending it through the mail and have other people mess with it and then, have it reslabbed and sent back to me. I mean, look, if you buy a 5.0 and it's got a couple pressable defects, okay, you've got a 5.0 with a couple pressable defects. It's a 5.0. I mean, I'm not worried about it. If I buy it raw and I can do it before the fact, I've got to send it in to get it graded anyway. Might as well press it. But I'm not breaking something out of a slab to do that. But there have been books I bought specifically to flip where they're like a Hulk 181, not the one I owned, but I was going to buy one to flip. And, something big like that, FF48, if it's in a grade where the difference in a 0.5 is a lot of money and it looks like it's a really good looking copy and it can hit a 9 and it's a 7.5 and it doesn't look like there's any spine ticks or anything, I'll buy the grader notes. And if the defects look like they're pressable to an 8.5 or even a 9 or something, then I'll buy it with the intention of flipping it and I'll crack it and press it and resubmit. And then, a bump from a 7.5 to a 9 on that book is a ton of money, dude. That's lots of money. So it's worth it to flip. But for stuff I buy for myself, I just, I'll buy whatever grade it is. I bought a 3.0 Nightmare 13 and I can probably press to a 4.0 and I don't care. I'm not going to do it.
Right. I do it with Silver Ages more, and I do it with books that I see out there for sale that, it's something out there, and I look out there and I'm like, God, that looks a lot better than a 6.0. What's going on with the book? Why is it a 6.0? And you don't know. And it's a 6.0 with like an amazing, it looks like a 9.0 cover or something like that. You want to know what the story is. And sometimes it's not, and it won't say it on the slab, let's say. Yeah. Especially if it's a Silver Age or something on the Silver Age. But you look at it, and I've done it with a few books. Actually, I did it with that Journey because I wanted to know. He bought it, and I was like, just charge me the $5 if you want the credit.
Yeah, sometimes it's the curiosity though. You just want to know, like,
why did that only get 5? And I found out that if you look carefully at the spine, it's a split spine from staple to staple.
Oh, in the middle.
Right in the middle, which you can't really see because everybody looks at the ends, because that's where you normally would see a split. You normally see a split. This is a good example here. up to the staple. Well, you don't see it as much between the staples unless the whole thing's split.
Yeah.
And especially in the Silver Age. But this is exactly what happened, where somebody was probably, because you hold it here and you're protecting it when you touch it and you open it this way. But apparently this looks like somebody just doing one of these things with it, you know.
Well, CBCS slabs, I've looked at some of those to flip, and they're free. You can go to CBCS website, type in the cert number, and it will tell you what's the grader's notes. So I love if I see a possibly flippable book, like in that range I'm talking for a big book, and it's a CBCS, I'm all over the grading notes. I have that page on their site saved as a favorite, and I use it all the time because it's free. With CGC, I'm not paying $5 left and right, but I'll do it sometimes. But you know, I usually don't even like to do it. Look, the grade is the grade. I'm not trying to. And this, I hate when people are marketing slabs and it's for sale. And it always says never been pressed, and they're like marketing like buy my slab, crack it out, press it, and you'll have a gold mine. I hate that, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's even if you get stuff pressed. Most of the time when I bought those graders notes, I always see staining in there, and then it's like, what's the point? If you see staining and pressable defects, it's almost pointless anyway because the staining is limiting that to a certain grade, and it's probably already there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not buying it. I'm not doing a 2.0. I mean, I'm talking like one of the major Silver Age keys. One of the things I actually searched for, and here's a little something we can read. So he brought up CBCS. I'm a CGC fan. However, older CBCS slabs, Generation 1, the graders were a lot tougher than the CGCs are today. And I consider the old CBCS stuff to be, you know, strict as strict can be. CBCS is strict, a little, you know, not it's a difference to where when CGC was doing that promo, I sent in I had 4 CBCS books. I sent in all 3 got one got a 2, a 1.5. It went from a 7 to an 8.5, but I did have it pressed, but you know, whatever. The other one went from went to an 8.5. The other one went to an 8 from a 7, and the other, which was an 8, went to I think an 8.5 or something like that, and that was it. And it was just like, okay, but that could have been the press, but I kind of didn't see any pressable defects, and the guy actually said he pressed them already. So
Tech 31's gone. It's at $40,444. 40,000.
Yeah, it's only got 15 seconds left, so that might be it. So I'm refreshing it. I'm hitting the instant refresh. 9 seconds.
That's insane.
That's 13,000 more than I thought would be the going price.
Yep, sold 40,444. Final hammer price.
That's that winner. I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing that on the soon. You know, for you tech guys fans, that's some good stuff right there.
That's crazy. I mean, that's entry level.
Yeah.
Highest
and let's talk about this book for a quick second because Tech 31's here. I love the book. I love Bob Kane's art on that book. It is the best Batman cover outside of probably this one when it has the beautiful cape job and everything else. But that's the eerie Batman, the Batman that we didn't see for years after that, you know, because Batman went to the hokey stuff and, you know, everything else. But we didn't get it again till Neil Adams, you know, pretty much. If you think about Batman history, it was the quirkiness until Neil took it back. Or who was the one? Carmine Infantino probably as well. This is not a significant appearance of anybody other than the fourth Batman.
First Bat plane.
Yeah, okay.
What, Tech 31?
Yeah. It's just known for the cover. I mean, as far as I know, most of it's known as classic cover, first Bat plane.
Crazy.
But that's, I mean, you're talking about $40,000, 1.5. And arguably, this is not even a top 10 Golden Age superhero book.
I guess it should be.
I guess it should be now because it certainly has hit that price.
Well, plus this book, it's obviously very old. It's like 1939 or something, and it's a very, you know, it appeals to Golden Age superhero collectors, Batman collectors, but then the style of the cover is like a horror mystery noir, and it appeals to people like me. there are very few superhero books on my list, on my wish list of stuff to get, and this is one of them. You know, 40 grand for a 1.5, that's not in the cards for me. But yeah, I wouldn't buy this. I could care less about the Batplane, but that cover is up there with, like, you know, a Suspense 3 or Fantastic 3, something like that. It's like awesome, like horror cover to me.
Yeah, I don't think there's a.
You got across all Golden Age collectors want this book, and that drives the price way up.
Now, why? Now you have a Tech 38 that's on the clock, right?
I don't have that one saved, but
it's a Tech 31, which is first Robin, which it's
Tech 38 sold for $22K
in a 3.0.
Yep.
So we're talking a 7 or 8 month difference, because I don't know exactly. There was 1 month there was no Tech. I remember that, or I don't remember it, but I remember reading about it. But that's a true key and a good cover. I mean, it's not great cover. It's still the same guy. I just, you know, that's one of the things with the gold wig.
Better than that one, I think. Well, I'm not a big Robin fan.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the Tech 38, I could care less about a Tech 38. Like, you know, that's not attracting people like me, because I could give a crap about that book. But you know, so you only have the Golden Age Batman superhero guys going after that, or gals. But for the Tech 31, you've got all those people. Plus, it's an earlier book. Plus, you've got all the guys like me that don't care about Batman but just love that cover. So that's why it's outselling that. I think.
A group of books that transcend genres. I think, like that detective, the suspense, that Phantom Lady 17, crime suspense 22, to some extent Captain America 1.
Yeah, I think Chamber of Chills 19. That's the price on that too.
Yep.
What did the Cap 1 sell for? Let me see.
$90K.
$90K. That was a. Hang on, let me look at them.
2.5.
Yeah, and that's where we're talking about. That's got to be a record for that grade.
I think it's like holding steady, or I think Ben was talking about that. Let's see.
Well, look, these books, like any other market, no market of any kind where people are investing goes up indefinitely. There's always corrections or crashes or downtrends. And the way this stuff is going, it's impossible for it to just keep going. I mean, it's just, these prices are insane. It's got to slow down and like dip a little bit.
But I think the lower the amount of books available, it can sustain it longer than anything else, because you can do it smartly. You can only, like, if Comic Connect has 10 of those 31s, but they only release one each auction, they know what they're doing, you know, like, whereas like
Tech 31s, but AF15, you tell me AF15s are the next 9.2 is going to be 700,000 and it's just going to keep going. I mean, AF15s,
no.
50 of them on eBay.
Only I think only the like super scarce books can potentially keep going, maybe.
Yeah, I think they transcend the typical market values. Like, you know, if like if Van Gogh's Starry Night comes to market, it doesn't matter what the art market's like, that book is going to go crazy, or that painting will go crazy. So I think, Tech 31's in that, but it's all the other books are being pulled along with those. And I don't think like the AF15 price is it cannot maintain this trend.
Those were down on this on the CGC boards. They were talking about the AF mid grade has gotten way down.
Yeah, I believe it.
Well, yeah, the 5s have actually went down about 12% over the last 2 months. The 4 big sales of the 5 to 6.0 all dropped recently, but the lower grades went up, which you're going to see because they price themselves out of people buying. You know, there are people that saved up $10,000 or $20,000 for a book. It happens.
Yeah.
They saved that, and they were counting on getting that 4.0. Now they can't get that 4.0, and they're going down to the 3.0 for the same price. And those prices are setting new records because they want the AF15 and they've already saved the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Another book I just wanted to bring up that's got 2 days left. I mean, we're not going to be on the air, obviously, for that long, but is the Superman 1. I don't know if you guys saw that 1.0 that has quite bit of issues on there. Completely split, reattached, but it is, let's be honest, it's a 1.0 blue label Superman 1. It's currently at 61,000. I think that's going to easily break the 125 barrier, and it's going to double by then. And that's, again, a 2.0 Overstreet on that book, which is a popular book, is an $86,000, and we're going to crush through that.
Yeah, all right, you're probably right, but all right, suppose hypothetically I'm in the market for a Superman 1, okay? Right. You've got to be, I'll just say, wealthy to spend this kind of money on a comic book. You have to be well off in life to do that. So I got money. I'm looking for a Superman 1. Here's one coming up. I want a lower grade. I don't want to spend $500,000 on a book, but I'll spend a good bit. So I'm looking at this one, 1.0. It's got a split detached cover, centerfold, reattached with tape. It's got a huge chunk missing off the upper right, a big chunk missing. It looks like it's got some grease stains or some blackening going on with it. What's the page? The back cover looks not great. It looks like it's been eaten away a little bit. And what's the page quality on this? Creamed off-white, that's good. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably going to go for a ton of money, but I feel like there's not really an entry level sort of when it gets to huge books like this, that I feel like this is not a good copy of a Superman 1. And
no,
it's a rare book, but it's not impossible to find. I mean, Superman 1s are out there. There's plenty of Superman 1s, really. It's not that rare, and it's not even the first appearance. It's the first in his own title. I know it's a huge key. I'm not downplaying it, but I would not be in the market for this if I was an entry-level Superman 1 guy looking for one. I'd pass on this, honestly.
Absolutely. Why do you want your first book to be completely detached and everything else? I still.
When you're talking 125 grand, you think it'll go for it? I mean, that's entry level if you're rich, but I mean, that's a lot of money for anybody. Even 25 grand.
I'd rather have for that money.
Yeah.
There's a stack of them. I can rattle off the. There's books that are going for less than that you could buy 3 of, that are better than that book. I mean, Superman 1 is, yes, it's Superman 1. And superhero books, absolutely, outside of Action 1. And what's the other Action everybody likes the most?
I mean, Action 2 is pretty popular because it's super tough to find.
I've seen a few of the other ones that have been really high. But another one that's in there, which I've never seen in person, and I don't know, you got to be hard to find this one. It was the Fawcett Captain Marvel. It was the Ash Can Flash Comics #1.
Oh, that's in this auction.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. That's 40,000 with a day to go. 9.4 white pages.
And I think that's probably the only copy of that, right? Because
I've never seen an Ash Can. I've never seen this book live. I've heard about it from people that talk about it, and it is. I'd love to get the history of this book, because this book is somebody. I want to know who's had it and who's passed this thing around. Because technically, would you consider that the first appearance of Captain Marvel? I don't know. Do they consider it that? Well, first appearance of Captain Thunder, right? Because that's what he was called first.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
I ignore them. I ignore the Ash Can.
I like them, but Ash Cans.
There's no color to them. It's completely black and white cover.
Yeah, they only did like 1 or 2 of those and sent it in quick just to protect the copyright on it. So it didn't really count as the book. And often things were changed when the actual book came out. So the cover on that is not the actual cover they used. So I don't think that even counts as part of the title. So I don't know. I'm not into Ash Cans, but when you get the Golden Age Ash Cans, that's it. You get one, that's it. It's like the original art. I mean, that was the one that was sent in to protect the copyright, and then they went ahead and printed out the book later and made some changes from the Ash Cans. It's not like now they do Ash Cans now, which is like
a little too
limited edition. They have like 200 Ash Cans or something.
There we go. So, Evan's right. That Ash Can has been around for making decades. I've never seen it live in person, but I know people I know have been to HeroCon, which is, by the way, I think is this weekend, and they've seen it there, and the one in Orlando, MegaCon, it was there not that long ago. I think the asking price is a little high for a book that you're right, it's not the first appearance. It's not, it could be one of those gimmick things that they sold. True first. It's not. Nobody considers it a true first unless it's an actual book. And ashcans aren't really books. Action 7. Okay, yeah, there you go. That was a good.
Yeah,
That was
even I love, timelies obviously, but I'm not that into that motion picture funnies, which is technically the first appearance of Submariner, but there's a lot of evidence that it never even saw the light of day and was even passed out in the theaters. So there was like 10 copies found or whatever, but I don't know. I just don't really care about that book very much for some reason.
Yeah, which one is that you're talking? Is that the one with like red background with a circle and the guy holding the curved dagger?
No. It's like some kids on a ladder and they're like painting or something. It was a I don't even think Martin Goodman, the Marvel publisher, had anything to do with it. It was just a book that they were going to have passed out at theaters.
right. Yeah, it was at the yeah, and they didn't, right? Did they pass
like
it out? Yeah, okay.
And but it had the Submariner story in there. And then when Marvel 1 was getting put together, they bought the from the place Everett was working at, that studio, I can't remember the name of it, but they bought that super Submariner story and then added a couple more pages to it or something, and then that's in Marvel 1. But technically it's not. I don't know, it's a weird gray area.
Yeah, I mean, if you're into the history of stuff, and a lot of stuff that's in comic books, the first actual appearance in the culture was not in a comic book. So it's how complete of a historical set of documents do you want? Like Popeye,
Right.
I would like to own the first appearance of Popeye, but it was in a comic strip.
Right.
I'm not going to go seek that out hardcore because I'm a comic collector. But if I come across it, I'm definitely interested. But that's the first appearance of Popeye, but it's not a comic, so it's not fitting in my collection, but it's historically significant. So there is a lot of gray area, and it's significant historically, but it's how broad do you want your collection to be? And I limit it just to comics, and
I think the Afghans fall in that category for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Another thing, because I was looking at some comic strips one time of some old Tarzans and, like you said, the Popeyes and stuff in New York one time, and I just couldn't pull the trigger on something that was behind. Now it's slabbed, but it was behind glass that I couldn't touch. It's just so ridiculously expensive. But there were enough people at these auctions back in the late 90s, early 2000s buying the newspaper prints and stuff like that. Wow. But by the way, comic strips back then were almost full pages, or not just your 3 Paul Schultz peanut stuff going on. You're talking a full half page in there. One of the things I wanted to get to, Marvel Hunter, how are you? Good to see you. One of the things I wanted to, what's an ashcan? An ashcan is like a promo for a book you have coming out that you, like you said, you want to keep the copyright to it, or you want to give out to advertisers or to various shops or dealers or distributors or whatever way you want to get your book out there. It's kind of like a, their Image did a ton of them when they first started, but it's been around forever, and it's kind of an ash can because it's smaller and actually fits into where you drop your ash in an ash can, kind of how they did it, because they were in the front and you grab it, and they were always free. I don't know, I've never seen a price tag on an ash can. That's kind of a dick move. Hey, I'm interested in your book, but I don't want to pay for it.
There's a couple ash cans on eBay for like $1 million or something.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they are, but I'm about to check it out and just see.
So one other thing we're going to talk about quickly here is we're going to go over, because I call this the Mount Rushmore edition. What 4 artists would you put, a Golden Age artist, and you can specify cover artist first if you want, because that's probably the best way to do it, would you have in your Mount Rushmore? Now we don't all have to agree on this. I'm guarantee we're not. I have mine.
How many people are on that mountain?
Four.
How many people are on the mountain?
Only four, and you don't have to place them. Which one's George and which one's Teddy? Which one's Tom? And
I
which
thought they added an Indian or something.
Oh, you want to do like a Crazy Horse one to the off to the side? A Crazy Horse Memorial one. But if it was a Mount Rushmore for me, I'll start it off with my first pick on my Mount Rushmore is Maurice Whitman.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, he's probably up there because he spans not just Golden Age. He goes all the way to some of the magazine covers I like. So I'm again, we're going to stick to Golden Age only. So I'm not.
Alex Schomburg.
You know, there you go. Schomburg's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, my top one is L.B. Cole. He's my favorite.
He's on my L.B. Cole. I'm going to agree with you on there because he's definitely on my list.
Who was your guy of the first one?
Maurice Whitman.
I don't know that many.
He did many fiction house. Everything from Jungles to Planets to Wings to Fight to Cover and Interior. But he's most well.
He did a lot of like painted style covers too.
DS Comics will tell you. This is a book I got from his buddy. DS brokered the deal for me. Actually, no, you bought the book and then sold. It was good.
Yeah, I brokered a deal for you by myself, and I bought it and then just sold it to you.
This is a preview of the Hunt kind of thing going on here. That's right, Flair. I'm not going to put on the Flair mag wig, but this is a very hard to find. This is probably one of the top 3 hardest to find post 1950 jumbos out there, especially because of the black cover and hard to find. There weren't that many. This is when it was literally the tail end. It's about to end. It ends 4 issues later. That's the last final issue of the set. And this is Maurice Whitman right here, as well as probably about 8 others I own. Well, no, more than that. I'm lucky enough that he specialized in Sheena for a while, and you know, let's be honest, it's Sheena. But my next one, did I say it yet? Oh, I said LB Cole. Yeah, I wanted to get him off.
Well, DS already got Cole.
Oh,
right?
I have to choose another one. Not a problem because you took Schomburg from me. I'm gonna have to take Baker.
Ah, that was mine.
I'm sorry. Well, you took mine. Well, you all took together.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of other cool guys that, like, you know, if there was a top 10, I could add them, but
It's only 4. Route Mushmouth. We got no more room for anybody else.
yeah. So
Who's your next?
I mean, like Lou Fine, Kirby did
Very good. And how about you, DS? Who's after you? LB Cole.
Well, I like Schomburg, but I don't like Timely's as much, so it's kind of weird. But I really like the Schomburg non-timely stuff. So I mean,
I love it.
figure.
Thrilling and exciting. Yeah.
But yeah, I like Schomburg. I mean, I really like Lou Fine a lot, but I don't have any of his stuff because it's just pricey and hard to find. But I really dig Lou Fine and Craig Flessel I like a lot, and I don't have any of his stuff either. But I haven't been in the Golden Age for that long, so I plan to get some of those. But Flessel and Fine, I just really love that stuff, and I don't have any. So, but they're still way up there on my list. So
I'm gonna throw out Russ Heath.
I like this guy, Otto.
I'm surprised you didn't say Sid Shores.
I'm not a big fan of his, to be honest.
There's a lot.
It makes Captain America's face looks like it's like stretched or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's on the B team.
Yeah, we run into some issues. Somebody asked about would early Frazetta. Well, yeah, Frazetta did Thunder, the Congo guy for a while. Wally Wood, yeah. Wally Wood, Strange Worlds, yeah. I would say you could have. But, like, here you run into a problem. If I say Will Eisner, everybody's going to say Spirit.
Here's a source.
It's one of those things. If you have your Rushmore.
That's short.
I mean, it's a great book. I love this book. It's one of my favorite caps. But I'm not, he basically took over, I think, when a lot of people left for the war.
Yep.
He
Sid did
stayed
not
there.
go overseas. Yeah. Sid was one of the few. Actually, when Stan, Joe, did Jack go?
Yeah, Jack
No,
went.
when did Jack go? Jack went in mid 42, 43, right?
Well, he was only like a month or so after D-Day. He was up in that area,
Yeah.
but he missed the beginning, thankfully.
Yeah. Just a minute. Yeah. So
You know who else I really like?
Paul Sultan, that's a good one. Actually,
Yeah.
that's a rare one you don't see much. Graham Ingalls, TJ, yeah. I was going to say for the pre-code horror guys, I was going to say is Graham Ingalls.
Yeah.
Graham
Well,
Ingalls.
I mean, the EC guys are all top notch. So if I were to start an art company and I could hire any of these guys and I wanted the best artists, quality, skill wise, I would hire the EC guys.
Like
But
Jack
for
Davis.
the work, yeah, Jack Davis, Johnny Craig, Wally Wood, Frank Frazetta was in there.
Who is
Joe Orlando? These are
Orlando,
top artists. But the art that EC, I'm going to say, let them put out because they really sort of held them back from going too far. They wanted to keep the joint classy, so to speak. So they didn't go as far as a lot of the other publishers were willing to go with the themes on the cover. So those aren't my favorite artists, but I really like Johnny Craig. But he did all EC stuff, so none of it's like beyond the fringe and really opened and blew away the envelope and got insane. It's really, it's not tame, but in the pre-code horror world, the EC stuff can be. It's just classically good, but it's not off the wall and obnoxious and just obscene horror. So Lee Elias is a monster of pre-code horror.
Yeah, I was going to say, is Elias the opposite of that? Because he kind of goes over the top.
He did a ton of Harvey stuff, and he did a ton of books that are like considered pre-code horror grails, like Black Cat 50, although that's debatable to some people, but I think it's Elias. He did Tomb of Terror 15, the other exploding face cover. He did the two big Chamber of Chills, the Chamber of Chills 19 from that Misfits Die album that everybody knows it from. And he did Chamber of Chills 23 that has the girl trying to pull the zombie away from the corpse kissing her.
I was going to ask about the Lee Elias because he's kind of did he do who did the tongue, the guy, the monster drop? Oh, by the way, one about Maurice Whitman, by the way, you guys don't know, he did a lot of ghost comics too, so he kind of crosses everything from jungle all the way to pre-code horror. All those ghosts, most of the ghosts, the famous ones, that one that everybody's going crazy for now, the troll, is that's Maurice Whitman, by the way.
I can't remember who did the tongues, but it's the same guy who did Thing Number 7, which I have a copy of, and that's a bizarre cover. And he really only did like 2 good covers, and those are them, but I can't remember his name now. There's one of those on eBay, though, actually.
Here's a guy that I don't think we mentioned, was the HG Peter.
Oh, yeah, he's good, yeah.
Very unique look.
Chris Barrett brought up Ditko. My thing about Ditko is his Strange Tales is still my favorite interior art outside of Buscema, of course. Drink. And technically, well, here's the thing: John Buscema was a Golden Age cover artist too, but I didn't really like a lot of them until he got when he grew up. I mean, he was in his early 20s when he was doing it, and he was learning from Jack Kirby. Specifically learned from Jack after when he got back from, because John didn't start till 48, and Sid Shores and Stanley hired him. So, and Sid had a lot of issues with John's artwork in the beginning, and I guess that's why there was a lot of problems.
So this is the one you're talking about, JD. This is the tongue cover, the crazy maniac holding the severed tongues and freaking this lady out. This book's not very high on my list, but it's super high on everyone else's list. But it's Lou Morales. Yeah, he did this one, and he did Thing Number 7, the Charlton publication. I do have that. But that's it for Lou Morales. Like, I think he did a sharp cover for a Charlton Lawbreaker Suspense Stories or something.
The first,
also, that's kind of cool.
Somebody brought up Bernie Wrightson. Bernie Wrightson is younger than people think, even though he's dead. His first work was his first published work, or the work that ever came out, was January 16th, 1969, sorry, and it is House of Mystery 179. That's the first.
Oh man, I was off. I was just throwing it out. I said House of Mystery 169 off the top of my head. I was close.
179. I have. I'm working on a whole Bernie thing going on. So
who's the cover artist who did the hot poker into the girl's face?
This is a Neil Adams. Oh, the poker in the face is.
Nobody knows. That's uncredited.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Which is something I wanted to bring up about Mike.
Nice cover.
You know,
it's an awesome cover.
You know who my fourth one I would say is look at all the uncredited work. Now, Black Hat 50 is attributed to Elias now, but years ago, I'm telling you, there was much more of this stuff wasn't researched. The internet exploded and everything. This is post-internet, but the content on the internet wasn't always there, and there was a lot of uncredited work that people went back and looked at, and then gave people, oh, this is so and so, this is so and so. Like the Harvey stuff went, oh, this is so and so, this is so and so. That's how a lot of people. That's how a lot of things are because a lot of things weren't being signed, especially if you were with Harvey or you were with Fiction House or you were with the what's that group? Iger Group. You didn't know who was doing the cover. So, and a lot of times a cover would be started on one book, and since a lot of these aren't serials, you know, they're not like continuations, not like your superhero books, which is kind of telling.
Yeah, they're just
next
one-offs.
issue. They're just one-offs. So someone would start drawing a cover, and somebody else could come in and do it. A lot of that, you see that a ton of it in my Jungle Books and Fiction House books. It's cover done by 4 or 5 people. They're really just attributing it to the entire Iger shop at that point.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the smaller pre-code horror publishers like Comic Media, Story Comics, Superior, Feral, like Ajax Feral, that aren't credited. Here's one that I really like that's never been credited, and I just off the top of my head, Mysterious Adventures 13. Killer skull cover here, not credited. Nobody knows who did it. And this is a smaller publisher. It's a Story Comics. Horrific 1, which is my icon on here.
Yep.
And one of my pre-code horror grails.
Zach?
Uncredited, Horrific 1.
It could be Mike Zach, though, if you think about it.
Mike Zach.
Oh, no, Don Heck. Sorry.
Don Heck. Well, yeah, I mean, Don Heck did all the later issues, but the first 2 are not credited, and it could be him. Yeah, but it's not credited, so.
Because he did stuff for the same company beforehand, so.
And he did all the other covers for sure after number 2 in that run of Horrific. So I think it's possibly Don Heck. Somebody else told me when I was discussing with them, they thought it was somebody else, and we just don't know. But
yeah, when you're doing things like this, like when we're talking about Iger shops, you're talking Jack Kamen, Joe Doolin, Maurice Whitman, Matt Baker, and Williamson.
Al Williamson?
Al Williamson.
Yeah, he did a lot of the sci-fi stuff for EC.
Yep, he did. He certainly did. And so did Jack Davis and him. Actually, I think Jack Davis and him did an entire run together of incredible science fiction.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of them. Probably was one of those.
Yeah, that was
Still alive?
I don't know. You know who? I know Alan Bellman's still alive for you timely guys. I missed him last time. So Chris Barrett says John Romita Sr. Romita probably started during the Atomic Age for sure. But he probably wouldn't have been doing a lot. When did Romita first start doing? I think he didn't do many Atlas books.
He did romance comics, I think.
Yeah, well, he was working for Kirby, right? Wasn't he working for Kirby's Kirby romances? And because Kirby and Simon were doing their own thing afterwards with all those other books, the Charlton, before they went over there. Let me look at the Atlas one, atlassales.com, and I typed in Atlas Ales.
I don't know. Can you see any of these? I don't know who the artist is, but for some of these early shadow.
Oh, wow. I'm actually not sure who did that.
Those are really cool. I should say here, actually. No.
Yeah, and for the timely guys, I keep hearing them say Alan Bellman never did any timely covers. I think he did one cover.
Marvel Mystic Volume 2, number 3.
Okay, yeah, I know he did one timely
That's the one
cover.
he did. It's actually not,
yeah.
it's Mystic #3. It's Mystic Volume 2, #3. It's okay.
Yeah, Dan Zolnarowicz also big name. I like a lot too. A lot of Planet Comics and Fiction House stuff.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, Fiction House is just one of those. I'm just big fan.
You know those crazy shadow covers? Like there's that one with the
Yeah.
guy coming at you.
Dude, there's so many covers of that Shadow, and there's so many volumes, and they never show up. If you want to see some Golden Age books that you've never seen before, and if you're into Golden Age and you think you've seen most everything, but you want to see some stuff you haven't seen, go on My Comic Shop or somewhere and look at all the covers of all the volumes of Shadow Comics. Guarantee you'll find left and right stuff you've never seen before. Some really cool ones, and then there's some cheeseball ones too. But it's I don't know who did the art on those.
Well, who was doing most of the Black Terror before it got? Schomburg did all of them. Who did the earliest one? Was it Schomburg too? Black Terror with what was the name of what was Mask Girl? What was her name? What was the girl's name that ended up becoming Blonde Phantom? She went by a different name. She always was with the Black Terror. She had a Lone Ranger mask on, but she wasn't in a long red dress.
Are you talking Black Cat?
No, no. That was Harvey. But this was definitely
Because Blonde Phantom is timely.
Timely, yeah, but it looks like her, but it was a Black Terror. You'll see. She had a name. Somebody will tell me here. Dick Tracy, comic artist. There are a few Mr. Gretzky. There's the one guy who's still alive who did Green Lantern too. I forget his name. Did a lot of Green Lantern.
Isn't Dick Tracy the guy? Isn't that Alan Gould or somebody Gould, Dick Gould or something?
Yeah,
the one that did Dick Tracy.
Yeah, there's one of those. Yeah,
he's like the original Dick Tracy artist.
Yep. There's some. Everybody's throwing out some. Wrightson did a Tomb of Dracula cover. You are correct, and so I will show you. It's Tomb of Dracula 43. That's a shock suspense stories. Who was doing a lot of the shock? That's all you see.
Yeah, I mean that's probably all like Johnny Craig and
yeah.
Graham Ingles probably did some of those.
Yep, yeah, for sure. I think I have a Tomb of Dracula should be right here. Actually,
I think I gotta get Lou.
Tomb of Dracula 43, Bernie Wrightson cover right here. Chester Gould, that's his name.
Chester Gould, yeah.
Masquerade, that was her name. Thank you, TJ. Masquerade, that was her name. She was like a sidekick, but she was always in trouble, kind of like Bucky and everybody else, Masquerade, that's her name. Thank you very much. Cool stuff. The guy who inked Showcase 22 is going to my local con. Oh, definitely. Well, I wouldn't have him sign a Showcase 22. Maybe get a nice piece of art from him, Chris. See if you can get him to do a sketch cover for you or a sketchbook thing or something fun. That'd be cool. I always wanted to get something done by a few people that have had history. Alan Bellman still does sketch covers. I want him to do my Avengers versus Defenders, but I already had Marco Djurkovic do a Captain America.
You know what would be better to have Bellman do is to just pay him like $300 and just have the biggest interview with him.
That would be cool.
Alan Bellman would be great because you have to understand he did so much of the interior and the inking of Timely.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous how much he did. Everything from the Blonde Phantom, Submariner, Captain America, Human Torch. I think he drew the first Toro, actually, didn't he? Yeah. Is that the little torch?
Toro,
that was him, right?
I want to say Schomburg.
Oh, Schomburg. Oh, maybe you're right. Yeah.
The extent of my timely knowledge is Schomburg, Kirby, Al Alvison, and Sid Shores. If it's not one of them, I probably don't really.
And Joe Simon,
yeah. So those guys, I mean, those are the ones I know, and really Schomburg's the one I like the best. But I'm not really into timelies that much because I don't really like World War II stuff. I mean, it doesn't do it for me. I like horror.
And that's why I like Atlas so much.
But World War II is like real life horror.
Hey, I'm not downplaying it. It's just not for everybody. You know what I mean? I like the horror that's just horror. It doesn't have to relate to anything.
You know
but
what
yeah.
was interesting? When I first started collecting Golden Age, I decided it wasn't for me, but there was a time where I loved World War II, but with zombie, anything like zombie or skull,
Yeah.
but world, and there's not that many. It's kind of a fun little set if someone wants to.
Yeah, the timelies I like the most are the least sought after because they're the ones that have the monsters and the death ray gun and the little green men. Those ones are the coolest.
Oh.
But that's even too far outside of my realm. I had a few of those and I just sold them because I just wanted to focus a little more focused stuff on horror.
Have you seen that Zip comics with the zombie Nazis?
Yeah, Zip Comics is cool. The MLJ stuff is cool. That stuff, like there's one with it's a Speed Comics with a gigantic Nazi monster. Cover, a green Nazi monster, and that's there's some stuff outside of the horror noir mystery type genre I like Tech 31 is a superhero book, and some of the World War II stuff, but it's not much of the World War II stuff.
There's a
if we could find the comics that classify themselves like they hit all more than like 2 or 3 genres at once.
Yeah, what's the one where the aliens are landing? They're miniature, they're small, and Hitler comes out of nowhere.
Oh yeah,
that's been around. It's kind of common though. I've seen it a lot. Somebody brought up. I wanted to start up somebody else. Somebody brought up Ted Gray. Mastodon. I don't know Ted Gray that much, but I do know Clarence Gray, and he did I think he did the Brick Bradfords before Schomburg, right?
Brick Bradford, Schomburg did a lot of the Brick Bradford.
Yeah, but I think Clarence Gray did them because it was part of King Features, what they were called. Is that what they were? Yeah. But yeah, that was all Atomic Age stuff because that was all like robots and that's good stuff. I mean, I'm actually more and more as I've been getting searching more for a friend of mine who's trying to find his niche because he's torn between being DS Comics with all the great horror covers, but he really likes the robot covers and he wants to do a whole science fiction robot because his kid likes them a lot. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I think for me, for Schomburg, really, it's the robot covers is what I like the most of Schomburg, and he did several really good ones.
You should get that Human Torch one.
Yeah, Human Torch 26.
Yeah.
Or is it 23 or 26?
I want to say 24.
I think it's 23.
Nice.
But yeah, that one with the robot stomping the city, I like that one's on my list. And he did I can't even remember the name of it, but I got it saved here. Mystery Comics 3 with
By the way, did that one on that Marvel Mystery 3 sell? I was up to 7. Oh, actually, I have it right here. I have it
Tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. Yeah, here's a cool Schomburg robot cover that's on my list. The mystery comic.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that one's
a real cool red, and this robot's wired in, so if you beat up the guy at the control panel, the robot will stop working. But that robot's got a Tommy gun, so that's just a really cool Schomburg robot cover.
Human Torch 23.
There you go.
23, yeah, that one. And then he did.
Yeah, Human Torch 23. Yeah, good call.
I think he also did. Let's see if I can find it. I can't remember the issue number.
Who did all these?
Well, the first 2 nobody knows for sure, but all the rest are Don Heck.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. The first 2 are the only 2 I really like. I mean, I like them all, but the first 2 are on my list, and I have number 1. But I don't. The artist is uncredited for the first 2, but all the rest are Don Heck.
And then there's this one, the No Show, number 15.
Well, I'm sure it's a face shot because all the covers after number 2 are. But
yeah,
I don't know off the top of my head.
Don Heck leads the league in cover swiping his own covers. So you have to look carefully. All the heads are the guys with the bullet head. There's one where he's upside down, getting choked.
Yeah,
that Don Heck did an homage of that sort of used the same head image on that war cover, War Fury 3, I think, or something.
I think that's the first time I've liked Don Heck. Are these covers?
Nice. Somebody brought up, I like the Atlas war covers. I'm a big fan of Atlas, and that makes you a Joe Kubert, Russ Heath fan if you're into war stuff. Or Who was the guy who did a ton of gray tone? I can't pronounce his name right. And a lot of great.
For
What was it?
Atlas war covers.
No, he did gray tone, specializing in war covers. But I don't know if he did Atlas though. Because all those gray tones were done later on, like Waterfront or Battlefront. Sorry, Waterfront, Battlefront. Battle Action was one.
Yeah, like fighting the Marines and stuff like
Yep.
that. I don't know. When I think of the Atlas War, I think of Russ Heath and Joe Manili.
Yeah, Joe Manili, Russ Heath, Joe Kubert are the only three I think of. Yeah. Joe Manili, by the way, did a lot of other things. Actually, Paul did a great. Paul's Joe Manili video was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Yeah, that was one of my, because I got into a lot of stuff, and one of the things we didn't mention were any of the westerns. That's where you got your crossover. Your crossover, a lot of your westerns.
The only one I could think of is Frazetta's Ghost Rider. That might be interesting to me.
I have a few westerns I like. I like Blade Carson. I like the early. I mean, I collected for more of historical. The Apache Kid. That's
Yeah, I like the '60s ones.
Yeah, the Marvels.
50s, yeah.
The one late '50s. That's the what westerns I like the most.
I only have one Western on my list right now, and it's this one, which is just weird. I just like the dark cover to it, and it's just a really cool image of this guy in the house and the Indians outside. They have to shoot him with the flaming arrow, and it's at night, and just the lighting is so cool on it. Blazing West. This is the only sort of, some of the oddball stuff I like if it's got sort of like the noir mystery feel to it, and I feel like this one does. So.
Oh.
Were these Don Heck too? These terror, what are they called? Terror.
The Beware Terror Tales.
Beware Terror, yeah.
A lot of them are LB Cole.
I don't know who did those, but that was not Don Heck.
Didn't LB Cole do a lot of the Terror Tales? The early ones, though, right?
Well, for pre-code horror, LB Cole started his own company with the money he made working for like Continental.
Yeah.
So when Star Publications, he bought Star Publications. So you notice when the Star stuff, like, when they get to the point where it starts being like the horror stuff, that's when LB Cole bought the company. And he's actually the first artist-owned company. It was not McFarlane and Image. It was LB Cole. He bought Star Publications. So from 1951 on, he did most of the covers, but he owned the company, and that was the company he started. So after all the pre-code horror stuff, if it's not a Star publication, it's not LB Cole most likely.
Yeah, and Iger, by the way, Iger himself was an artist. He just was doing pulps, and he was doing platinum like comic strips. So, but he was rich as hell. So
I really like this Black Cat cover.
That's
the
Harvey. So there's a good chance that's a Lee Elias cover or a Warren Kramer probably. If it's a Black Cat, it's probably a later Black Cat's probably a Warren Kramer cover.
41.
Yeah, I mean it's
Black Cat 41 would be 1950, right?
No, it's probably 53. Black Cat 50 was 54. So going back from that, 9 issues.
Who did the early Black Cats? The one who was doing the actual superhero character Black Cat, or whatever. Yeah, I guess you call it. There's so many of those out there that are cheaper than you think, but at least I think they're cheaper than they should be. But those were all Harvey. But there's a lot of good copies of those books out there. There's a lot of
awesome
condition. Yeah.
Yeah, Bernard Bailey, I think, did most of the covers for Beware Terror Tales. Oh, Bernard Bailey's another good one. Bernard Bailey did a lot of stuff in like early Golden Age DC, like Action Comics and stuff. Bernard Bailey did some work on, and he did some really good horror stuff. The Weird Mysteries in particular, some of my favorite Bernard Bailey stuff. Weird Mysteries 4 with the skull with the ant with the man's face coming out of it, and then Weird Mysteries 5 where they have a ape's head on a operating table, and there's a gloved hand lifting the brain out, and there's all these electrodes in it. That's a Bernard Bailey.
These are Whitman's here, but I wanted to show you Buscema. This is a nice cover. I do like some crime stuff. This is not terrible. It's just you can see how Atlas was, and the difference between covers and the covers start telling the story right off the bat.
Yeah.
That was a lot of words and stuff, which that was an Atlas thing. I think more than anybody else did that, where your first panel was the cover. Page 1. So Terry Robinson.
Another good one I just thought of is Basil Wolverton. Most known for his sort of goofy humor, satire stuff, but he also did Weird Tales of the Future, and some, I think he did all the covers for that, and that's a pretty good pre-code horror cover title. But yeah, and Basil Wolverton, didn't he do like, was it Mad or something? He has that's very recognizable style. It's like sort of cartoony, but horror.
It was my horror elephant, but
yeah, and that's an Ajax Farrell, and nobody
knows who it is. I was going to say, this is a beautiful cover. If anybody wants to take credit for this, go ahead, because it's unknown.
Yeah, I think it's probably an Iger Shop one there.
Yep. He's looking for Terrors of the Jungle 8. Which one is 8? Do I have that? Is that one of the ones I have? This is 5. That's Terrors of the Jungle 5. He wants a Terrors of the Jungle 8. That's golden. I'm just pulling out books I have that I'm going over to decide whether I want to slab or not, because I'm not in the mood to decide on this one. Not that one.
Power Comics number 2.
What?
Power 2?
Power 2.
Is that the one with holding the guy up and throwing him?
Well, it's another
That's Power.
In the Gerber.
Yeah, that's LB Cole, yeah.
It's a no-show. I just wondered if the no-show was a Cole.
No, well, let me see. What's the one after?
Can you see that?
Yeah, it's the one that's missing is like a blue cover with a guy that looks like he has a UK flag on him, and he's holding somebody up and throwing him. It's not an LB Cole cover.
Evan, which is Terrors of is that the gorilla cover, Evan? Number 8? I think it is. That sounds like the gorilla, like, beating his chest. Which, by the way, is swiped countless number of times. And all the Fiction House stuff, too. Because, this company was just shit. This company, these papers, this is shit company.
Yeah, that's Star Publications. That's LB Cole's company.
Yep.
We're screwed, guys, because there's just way too much good stuff.
That's a problem. That's why Golden Guys keeps going. That's what we do. Sexy blonde with hips. Okay, but what's the animal on it?
He might be talking about the one where she's got like the zebra striped swimsuit on, and she's in the middle, and it's surrounded by all the animals.
Okay. When she's in the middle, like there's a Lorna like that too. No animal. Okay.
What's the title?
Terrors of the Jungle number 8.
Okay, I'll look at that.
You got it in your book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those because they're all LB Coles, but they're not my favorite LB Coles, so I don't really go after them too hard.
I actually like the girl, this one, and then I've got the other one.
Oh yeah, here we go. It is an elephant, right here.
Yeah, I have that.
Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah, I have that one. Terrors of the Jungle 8. Yeah, I have 5 and 8. I knew I had 8. 8 sounded really familiar.
The only one that's really on my list is 20, and that's the underwater scene with the octopus. And it's like a yellow and green cover. And here's a copy. There's a 2L on eBay, but I just think they want too much for this. But this is my favorite of those LB Cole Jungle ones. And it's all one title. They just changed the name a couple times, but that's a full run. The numbering goes straight through. Yeah. So number 20 of those is the one I like.
Yeah, it keeps going. The numbering continued. Right.
4 is pretty cool. It's like the big lizard.
Nice.
Dude, is that a Cole too? This guy right here.
Yeah, all the jungle.
Well, this is actually. I think he's. Is he? I don't think he's just cover on some of these. He's interior too, right?
He does some interior, but he did mostly all the covers.
Yeah, because this even he signed all his stuff. I have the only 2 LB Cole elephants. 143. I know I have that 8 somewhere, but I've got too many Golden Age books.
Well, it says he did all the covers. The Terry's
Yeah, that's his company. Let's hope
He did all the covers to the Jungle ones, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, he did most of all the covers for all of the Star books, but occasionally he let somebody else do one. Like in the Blue Bolt run, 109 is a Basil Wolverton cover, but he did all the other ones. And
What about
in the Spook title, he did all the covers except the last one, and that's Jay Disbrow. So he did, 99% of all the Star publication covers.
Did you see the Blue Bolt 119?
Yeah, what is it sell for 11,000?
Yeah, a 9.
Yeah, that's the highest graded copy.
It's the single highest graded.
Yeah.
And you probably will never see any. I don't think you'll ever see any Blue Bolt in a 9.6 again in your life.
No, that's insane.
Yeah.
And that's not even one of the better Blue Bolt. They're all good, but that's not one of the, if that was a 4.0, it would probably be 650 to 700, which would be low for a Blue Bolt in a 4.0.
Yeah.
So usually the better ones are going from like 12 to 1600, and that would be one of the lesser ones. But in a 9.6, it doesn't matter.
Nice. Look at this here. So you said you got some Atlas books. Atlas romance. You never know what you find with those. There was a lot of love story, love tales, and stuff like that that were early Buscema works, as well as a lot of Gil Kane did quite a lot of that stuff on the Atlas stuff. Gil Kane and Gene Colan as well. Ernie Colan, not Ernie Colan. Gene Colan did a lot of that fun stuff. It was Ernie Colan did this. A lot of this stuff. TJ. I know it's this ghost, but I love. I'm going down a rabbit hole of Bronze Age. It's Atlas. It's the Superior Atlas books.
Oh yeah.
I'm falling in love with them, man. I really am.
Yeah, I think Neil Adams did some Atlas stuff too.
Yeah, I've got a 9.6 in one as a gift. Mr. Watson, it was good. Right in the wheelhouse, good stuff. One of the so we talked about Rushmore, and nobody will agree. It's like saying who there is no set answer as long as we all have Schoenberg's Call on there, and I think Will Eisner's Spirit cover is must. If you're a good girl art collector, Spirit red dress slit up there, got to be number one. I mean, it's
yeah, I like that better than all the Baker stuff, honestly, except for one of the 7 Cs, but only because it has a shark on it.
Slave Girls are getting Slave Girls.
Yeah, who did the one where she's chained to the heater?
That's Brenda Starr.
Brenda Starr. Is
Brenda
that Jack
Starr.
Kamen or something?
Yeah, that's Jack Kamen, who was a Fiction House guy. Jack Kamen did this cover. Where's my Jack Kamen books? I have a slab of Jack.
I think Jack Kamen's Fiction House stuff is as good as Matt Baker's Fiction House stuff, and I know people disagree with me, but I'm not into that genre. So
a lot of the Fiction House stuff that's credited to Matt Baker is not Matt Baker.
Yeah, I mean, I like the GGA stuff, the Planet Comics GGA, or like the Sci-Fi GGA, the Frazetta GGA that's like sci-fi or horror oriented, but I'm not just like straight up romance or GGA. It's got to have like a horror or sci-fi theme.
Yeah, he did Thunder the Congo King, which was I think number 7 is his only cover-to-cover all-interior book. Frank Frazetta, the only one in all publications all over the place.
Yep.
The only one that he's cover-to-cover. So I'll show you Jack Kamen.
And then if we went back to pulp covers, I would, there's a whole bunch of
no, this is Baker.
Pulp artists.
This is a Baker. You can tell by the girl.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's decent. I mean, I like that.
Yeah.
It's
actually harder to find. This is actually harder to find than I thought in the grade because of the, it's completely torture, and the blue on the ocean it's still really good or whatever.
Here's one I think transcends the.
That's Spirit right there. That's the Will Eisner. That's the one we're talking about, everybody. None of us have, but we all
what
want.
we're describing is what is considered classic covers.
Yeah. I mean, there are people that collect bondage covers, i.e., this is a double bondage, and then you got the 2 slave girl ones that are just a Brenda Starr being tied to the post. You know, Joe Doolin gets no love. Are you kidding me? I'll show you some Joe Doolin. Here's Joe Doolin right here. You know what's funny about Joe Doolin is Don Rosa, who collects every one of these, did not know who Joe Doolin was. Doolin is mostly known for doing JoJo and Rula and JoJo. So I think Joe Doolin, Bubs, I think I'm right when I say I think he worked for Fox in the beginning for a while, which was part of the Iger group. But Doolin is he didn't do enough. So
Yeah, I like his Planet Comics stuff.
Oh, you like Jungle Comics Thrills?
I gotta get going, guys.
Oh, all right. Yeah, we're just.
It was always, as always, it was really fun.
Always good. I wanted to close out the show in a second, but somebody wanted to see. Let me get up for a second. I'm getting old.
The wall just starts crumbling.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the Hulk bust through that wall.
I think who was asking? Who brought this up? Evan. Dick Cole ran from issue 10, where it became Sports Thrills, until issue 15 became Jungle Thrills. Seeing again, getting a title change with Jungle Thrills 3D #1, which is this is Harvey, True 3D #1.
Yeah, the Jungle Thrills 3D one I have. That's the red cover with the lion jumping off it, and that's LB Cole.
Yep. This is the file
copy. Harvey. That's a Harvey one, right?
Yeah, this is a file copy of it, 9/2. So.
All right,
yeah, the Dick Cole was Novelty Press, and Novelty Press has a lot of LB Cole. That's sort of where he got his start, was in the Novelty, and he did Continental, and then he took over. He bought Star Publications and ran that. But like Dick Cole, there's a lot of Dick Cole and Target comics that are LB Cole stuff, and really cool interior splash pages by Cole, because at first he didn't do a lot of the covers, but a lot of the interior work of LB Cole in like Target comics and 4 Favorites and Dick Cole is not well known, because nobody has enough. Not enough people have those books to open them up and read them. But there's some really cool interior stuff by LB Cole in those too.
Yeah, that's what because that's one of the things that I actually wanted to ask you about offline, but I might as well ask you online, put you on the spot. Do you like the interior work of LB Cole on the stuff? I mean, because I've seen it a few times, and it is pretty good. It's just it's way different than the cover. I mean, maybe it's way different, but
the interior stuff of his that I like is pre-1950. It's like the 1945 range. The interior stuff of his is the best of his stuff. Now, he didn't do a lot of covers in that, but the ones he did were awesome. But the interior LB Cole stuff from the mid-40s, I love
earlier stuff.
But when you get later on into pre-code horror, it's strictly covers. He doesn't have a lot of interior stuff, but the interior stuff is not that great anyway. But it's just straight up awesome covers then. But the stuff in the 40s, his interior stuff is solid. He has one double page spread. It's like a double splash page spread in a 4 Favorites issue, just some random 4 Favorites issue from like 1944 or something. And it's an insane spread with Satan as the devil, and it's got all these guys marching to their death, and it's an insane scene, and it's an inside double page splash by LB Cole that nobody even knows about. But stuff like that he did because he was trying to prove himself, and he had the jobs, and he was still early in his career, and he would do insanely good artwork inside.
Yeah, I mean, because I did come across an LB Cole interior page from, I think, 1940. It was post-war. It was post-war, but it was very early on, pre-46 for sure, because it was the title and everything ended. And I saw it, and I'm like, I wonder if he would be, if you like the interior work of it, because it was advertised as an LB Cole book, but somebody else cover. I don't even know who the cover was, to be honest with you. I didn't think it was known who the cover was, to be honest with you.
Well, once he took over Star Publications, it's just covers strictly. And when he took time off from a cover, rarely, if you want that issue, there's some LB Cole stuff inside. But I wish I had a picture of that splash. I had it saved on my phone, but I don't. Oh, I do have it. You want to see it?
Yeah.
All right, it's a double page. I don't know how well this is going to show up, but
I'm gonna look at it
this is the
when I see it.
splash page from inside a random 4 favorites comic book from the 40s, and you can see the Hitler's the devil there, and it's got, you know, all those men marching. It's got one soldier crucified on a cross. I mean, it's just a nasty scene, and this is a, you know, double page LD Cole in the middle of some random 1940s 4 favorites. So yeah, that's
Wow.
just freaking awesome. And look at this like figure of Hitler, and then, you know, you got this soldier crucified. That's an LB Cole right there, and it's phenomenal. Most people don't even know this exists, and I don't even remember what issue it is. But it's just some random nondescript issue you wouldn't even know what it was if you picked it up.
That wasn't the
yeah,
interior
so
that the guy was talking about, but that's really nice. Thank you for. So we're gonna wrap it up here because I didn't realize it was this late. Jeez, this thing goes long. This is the way to do the show. Once again, DS, you want to go over anything on your show, or are you more excited about this now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything on my channel. You know, Heroes Con's coming up in 2 days.
Going?
I'll be there. And, yeah, I'll be there. If anybody else will be there, hit me up on my Instagram or whatever. And yeah, I'll be there all 3 days. I don't have a lot of money to spend, but I'm still gonna go.
We're going to be talking about that tomorrow night on Comic Core Unlimited show. We'll be talking about Heroes Con, and anybody who's going to be in here, if you know anybody who's going, tell them to join tomorrow. So we'll try to get all you guys together so you get a little group meet, maybe a little mini meet up with all the YouTubers like we had at C2E2 and Planet Comic Con I experienced. But once again, I'm really happy, and thank you guys very much for being here. Once again, this was Golden Guys. We'll be here next week. And, of course, thank you for being a friend.
All right, see you all later.
Okay, bye-bye.